It's been over 9 years since Elisa Lam's strange death at the Cecil Hotel shocked the world. The Canadian student was found dead in a rooftop water tank weeks after she went missing. Her last known moments, caught on an elevator camera, left everyone confused. She acted strangely, pressing buttons, peeking out, and hiding in the corner. People wondered, was she running from someone, or was something else going on? Now, the mystery may finally have an answer. Join us as we uncover the truth behind one of the most chilling cases in recent memory. The story of Elisa Lam and the dark past of the Cecil Hotel. In January 2013, a 21-year-old Canadian student named Elisa Lam arrived in Los Angeles as part of her solo trip across the US. She had big plans to explore California, visiting cities, seeing sights, and experiencing new things. Elisa was curious, thoughtful, and often shared her experiences online. She had started a blog called Ether Fields, where she wrote about fashion, books, and her personal struggles, especially with mental health. Later, she created a Tumblr blog called Nouvelle Nouveau, filled with quotes, images, and reflections. Through her posts, it became clear that Elisa was dealing with bipolar disorder, a condition that made life challenging for her at times. Elisa's family, who lived in Vancouver, stayed in regular contact with her. She called or messaged them every day during her trip. They knew she had some mental health struggles, but they didn't think she was in serious danger. However, something bad will happen to her. And what is that? Keep watching to find out. Elisa had gone off her medication before, and during those times, she experienced hallucinations and anxiety. But there was no clear sign that anything bad was about to happen. On January 28, 2013, Elisa checked into the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. It was meant to be just another stop on her journey. What Elisa may not have known, however, is that the Cecil Hotel has a very dark and disturbing history. For nearly a century, it had been linked to crime, death, and mystery. The Cecil Hotel opened in 1924. Back then, it was a grand place meant for wealthy travelers and business people. But when the Great Depression hit in the 1930s, the area around the hotel, known as Skid Row, began to decline. Poverty, crime, and homelessness grew, and the hotel's fortunes quickly fell. Over time, it became a cheap place to stay for just a few hours or days. People used it for quick lodging, drug use, and other illegal activities. Some of the most infamous guests of the Cecil were serial killers. In the 1990s, Richard Ramirez, also known as the Night Stalker, allegedly lived on the top floor while committing a string of brutal murders in Los Angeles. According to stories, he would return to the hotel after his crimes, throw his bloody clothes in the dumpster, and walk through the lobby as if nothing had happened. No one questioned him. In the early 1990s, another serial killer, Jack Unterweger from Austria, also stayed at the Cecil. He was a journalist who claimed to be researching crime in LA, but he was actually committing murders himself. Like Ramirez, he seemed to be drawn to the hotel's eerie atmosphere and dark past. Police officers who worked the area often said Cecil was one of the most dangerous spots in the city. One former officer said he would respond to 1 to 3 emergency calls from the hotel every day. Overdoses, fights, and mysterious deaths were all too common. Locals knew the place was troubled. Some believed the building was cursed, others claimed it was haunted. Elisa, however, checked in just like any other traveler, possibly unaware of this grim history. At first, she seemed fine. She was staying in a shared room, but her strange behavior led the hotel to move her to a private one. She continued to speak with her family and even explored parts of the city. Soon after, things will change. But what exactly? Keep watching to find out more. The days leading to Elisa Lam's disappearance. When Elisa Lam checked into the Cecil Hotel on January 28, 2013, everything seemed normal. At first, she stayed in a shared room on the 5th floor with other female guests. But within 2 days, things started to take a strange turn. The girls she shared the room with began to complain. They said Elisa was acting oddly, locking the door and asking for passwords to get in, and even leaving notes that said things like, "Go away" or "Go home." Because of this, hotel staff moved her to her own private room, room 5006. Elisa was supposed to check out of the hotel on January 31st. That day, she vanished. Elisa had always made an effort to stay in touch with her family. She called home every day during her trip, so when she didn't check in on February 1st, her parents got a little worried. But as more days passed without any word, their concern grew into fear. On February 4th, they reported her. They reported her missing to the Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD. Given the Cecil Hotel's dark history, the LAPD didn't treat this as just another missing person case. They began searching right away. Officers went through Elisa's room carefully and looked into other parts of the hotel like the basement and the roof. However, they couldn't search every guest room without permission or a clear reason. According to Sergeant Rudy Lopez, they needed probable cause to do that. The police even brought in sniffer dogs to help track her scent, but the dogs couldn't find anything useful. It was like Elisa had just vanished into thin air. Hotel staff who spoke with the police remembered Elisa as polite, but quiet. The housekeepers noted that her room was mostly tidy, except for a lot of paper scattered around, likely notes, journal entries, or travel plans. One of the last people to see Elisa was Katie Orphan, a worker at the Last Bookstore, a shop not far from the hotel. Katie told the police that Elisa had come in to buy books and music for her family. She said Elisa was friendly, upbeat, and full of energy. Elisa had been active online too. Her Tumblr blog, Nouvelle Nouveau, was still posting content even after she went missing. That was because she had used Tumblr's queue feature to schedule posts ahead of time. Still, seeing her blog stay active while she was nowhere to be found only made the situation more eerie. Many people wondered if someone else had access to her account, or if it was just a haunting coincidence. The Cecil Hotel had security cameras in certain areas, including the elevators. At first, police checked the videos but didn't find anything unusual. Elisa had been seen entering and exiting the hotel, sometimes waving happily at the doorman. But there was no sign of anything alarming, at least not at first glance. On February 6th, the LAPD held a press conference. They showed Elisa's photo, shared details about her disappearance, and asked the public for help. Her story quickly spread across TV, radio, and the internet. Flyers with her face appeared all over Los Angeles. Online forums lit up with people sharing ideas and theories. Some began digging into her blog posts, while others tried to track her movements during her trip. One surprising discovery was that Elisa had attended a live taping of the Conan O'Brien show. According to reports, she started acting strangely while she was there and even handed a letter to the host. This behavior made the staff uncomfortable, and she was escorted out of the building by security. These pieces began to paint a troubling picture. Elisa had shown signs of unusual behavior leading up to her disappearance, both at the hotel and in public. Yet there was no single answer to what happened, or why. The whole case became even more confusing when the now famous elevator video was released to the public a few days later. It showed Elisa acting erratically, pressing several buttons, peeking out into the hallway, and making odd hand movements. Many people were quick to form their own theories, from mental health struggles to something more sinister or even supernatural. But before that video stirred the world, the key facts were already in place. A bright young woman had gone missing in a hotel with a dark past. Her behavior had become strange, and her family was desperate for answers. The mystery of Elisa Lam was just beginning to unfold. What are we going to unravel next? Stay tuned because what comes next will shock you. The search for Elisa Lam. Amy Price, the former manager of the Cecil Hotel, once recalled a strange moment with Elisa Lam. One night, Elisa walked into the hotel lobby and said something unusual. "I'm crazy, but so is LA." This stuck with Amy. The Cecil Hotel already had a reputation for being mysterious, with stories of missing guests and dark history. Now, another mystery has been added: the disappearance of Elisa Lam. Elisa's case quickly became more than just a missing person report. It became a worldwide mystery. People from all over joined in the search for answers. Everyone had one haunting question: where was Elisa Lam? Days passed, then weeks. Still, there was no sign of her. The Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, made a bold move. They released a video from the hotel's security cameras. They hoped someone might recognize Elisa or spot something important in the footage. The video was just over 4 minutes long, taken from the elevator inside the Cecil Hotel. This was the last time Elisa was seen alive. The footage became famous. People everywhere watched it, trying to understand what happened. It started with Elisa entering the elevator. She looked left and right, as if to make sure no one else was around. She stepped inside and pressed several floor buttons. But strangely, the elevator doors didn't close. Elisa then moved to a corner of the elevator, almost like she was hiding. After a moment, she stepped out, peeked outside, and came back in. She repeated this a few times. Her hand movements were strange, waving or moving in odd patterns. She seemed anxious, maybe even scared. One thing that really puzzled viewers was the elevator door. It stayed open for a long time, even after Elisa had pressed many buttons. Some people thought this was a technical glitch. Elevator experts explained that if someone pressed the door hold button, the doors would stay open. But not for that long. A check of the elevator after her disappearance didn't find any big problems. When the video hit the internet, it exploded with theories. One of the wildest was the elevator game. This is a spooky game that some people believe can take you to another world. It involves pressing elevator buttons in a certain order. Some said Elisa's behavior looked like she was trying to play this game. Others had different ideas. Some thought there was someone else outside the camera's view. Elisa looked like she was hiding or trying to avoid someone. She kept peeking out of the elevator like she was waiting for or scared of someone. But police found no proof that another person was with her during that time. Some people, especially those who believe in ghosts or spirits, thought she might be interacting with something supernatural. They saw her movements as signs that she was communicating with an invisible force. On the other hand, many Western viewers leaned toward a medical explanation. They believed she might have been having a mental health crisis. Still, a few people believed Elisa was just being playful or acting strange for fun. Video experts also got involved. They looked closely at the footage, frame by frame. They were checking for signs that the video had been edited. Most said the video was continuous, but some noticed small jumps, tiny bits that looked like they might be missing. This added to the mystery. Why would parts be missing? Was someone trying to hide something? The timestamp on the video was also a problem. Parts of it were hard to read. Some people said it looked blurred or hidden. That led to even more rumors. Did the hotel or the police change the video? Or was it just bad video quality? To find answers, more security footage from the hotel was reviewed. Some cameras had clear timestamps. Others had the same problem as Elisa's video. This seemed to show that it wasn't done on purpose. It was just poor video quality across the hotel's system. Doctors and mental health experts also gave their thoughts. Some said Elisa's movements looked like something called psychomotor agitation. This is when a person moves around a lot because they are mentally restless. Others said it looked like she might be having hallucinations, seeing or hearing things that aren't there. Elisa had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. This was known. If someone with this condition doesn't take their medication correctly, it can cause serious problems. Some medications can also interact badly with others, making things worse. People started asking, was Elisa taking her medicine properly? Could a mix-up in her medication have caused her strange behavior? Toxicology reports were later done, and they gave more information. But what happened to her at the very end? Stay tuned to find out. Elisa Lam's tragic end. Elisa Lam's tragic story took an even darker turn when attention shifted to the Cecil Hotel's rooftop water tanks. These tanks were not the first places investigators checked, even though they were accessible. But soon, guests at the hotel started complaining. British tourists, Sabina and Michael B., reported that the shower water came out black at first, and the tap water tasted strange. It had a sweet but awful taste that was hard to describe. Hotel management tried to fix the issue. They checked the plumbing, questioned the city water supply, and sent maintenance crews to investigate. Nothing worked. Eventually, a maintenance worker named Santiago Lopez went up to inspect the water tanks. What he found was shocking. Elisa Lam's body floating inside one of the tanks. The tanks were large, about 4 feet by 8 feet, and stood tall on the rooftop. They had metal hatches that could be opened, but were supposed to be latched shut. Santiago noticed that the hatch to one tank was open. That's when he saw Elisa's body, floating face up near the surface. Forensic teams examined the tanks. They explained that for someone of Elisa's small size, getting into the tank was possible but very difficult. Opening the hatch alone would take strength and effort. Climbing out would have been almost impossible because there were no ladders or footholds inside. There was also debate about whether the hatch was open or closed when Elisa was found. Santiago said it was open, but some police officers later claimed it was closed. If it was closed, how could she have done it from inside? This led some people to think someone else might have been involved. The autopsy results weren't quick. It took weeks to get a final report. When it came, the coroner ruled Elisa's death as an accidental drowning. There were no signs of physical injuries, sexual assault, or foul play. Toxicology tests revealed Elisa had taken some of her prescribed medication, but not all. Notably, she had skipped her antipsychotic medication and had taken only one antidepressant recently. This mix of medications, or lack of some, might have triggered a manic episode. In people with bipolar disorder, taking antidepressants without mood stabilizers or antipsychotics can cause mania. Symptoms can include delusions, agitation, or hallucinations. Her behavior in the elevator video, which included odd movements, pressing multiple buttons, hiding in the corner, might point to this. Police also explained that there were 4 ways to reach the rooftop. 3 involved internal doors with alarms, and 1 was an external staircase connected to the 14th floor. Elisa likely used the external route since no alarms went off and police dogs lost her scent near that window. Once on the rooftop, she would have had to climb a platform and use a 10-foot ladder to reach the top of the water tank. A tourist later showed in a video that it was possible to reach the roof and tanks without triggering alarms. The lids of the tanks were found unsecured just 2 weeks after Elisa's body was discovered. This made it likely that Elisa had climbed in through an already open hatch. There was also some debate about whether the hatch lid was too heavy for Elisa to lift. Some claimed it weighed around 20 pounds, others said it could be 60 pounds based on materials. But even then, with the lid hinged, Elisa would have needed to lift only about half that weight. Gravity could have pulled the lid shut after she entered the tank. As for why Elisa was naked, her clothes were found inside the tank with her. It's possible she removed them before entering, or maybe she took them off to stay afloat. Wet clothes can weigh a person down. While unsettling, these details don't point to anything unusual for someone possibly in a confused or panicked state. Many people online still believe there was foul play or something mysterious involved. They point to Elisa's odd behavior, the spooky history of the Cecil Hotel, and even a horror movie called Dark Water that mirrors parts of this real-life event. But despite all these theories, no suspects were found, no evidence of a crime was uncovered, and no one saw Elisa with anyone suspicious. Elisa's family later sued the hotel, claiming it should have made the tanks inaccessible. But the judge ruled against them, saying the tanks weren't meant to be accessed by guests, and Elisa had no reason to think it was safe to climb them. In the end, though the case captured the world's attention, the evidence pointed to a sad but simple conclusion. Elisa Lam, a young woman struggling with mental illness, had a manic episode that led her to the rooftop and into the water tank. There were no signs of foul play, and no signs she meant to end her life. It was a tragic accident, one made more haunting by unanswered questions and internet theories. Outro. So, do you think there was foul play in Elisa Lam's death? Let us know in the comments section below. Do not forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Click on the next video displayed on your screen, you will enjoy it.